Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 56th lesson of A Course in Miracles. And what do I say every week? I am so excited. I'm so ecstatic. I'm just ecstatic.
Hallelujah.
Um, I'm excited. So I'm going to read the 56th lesson of A Course in Miracles, which states, above all else, I want to see differently. Above all else, I want to see differently. And today, everyone, we are joined by someone who crossed over to the other side and now sees the world differently. After suffering from a heart attack, Jay Martin was considered dead for 24 hours and miraculously recovered to share his truth with the world. So, hello, Jay, and welcome to the sharing group.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
We are so
Very humbled.
excited to have you, so excited to have you for a plethora of reasons. Uh, so excited to hear about your experience. So why don't you go ahead? I know you have a very rich background in your childhood in Chicago, I think, right?
Yep.
So I would like for you to just briefly go through like your childhood and then lead us up to your NDE.
Okay. Do the best I can.
Okay.
Forgive me ahead of time, everybody. I was born on the south side of Chicago in Inglewood. My family, regardless on what was going on, it was a lot of love, in the family and the neighborhood in general. Um, we let's say we were pretty tight knit. I stayed with my mom, my dad's mom, and my grandfather, my dad's dad, and stuff like that. Basically, my dad's side of the family. Okay. My dad, he was they were kind of into that life, back then in the 80s. He used to serve, used to sell drugs. He was in a gang. My uncles, they were also in gangs. Funny thing about that was that they were all in different gangs, you know, but they all came into the same house, and you wouldn't have known they was in different gangs unless somebody said something. It was a lot of traffic going in and out of the house. Um, the house got raided, it seemed like every other weekend. See, like the police was in it often. Times our grandparents would tell us to go to the back as kids, when everything got a little chaotic. Um, House turned over and everything. We didn't really, I wouldn't say we were kids and you would expect kids to react a certain way, but and I look back on it in hindsight, it was like almost like a normal thing. I was probably about, I can remember probably like 4 or 5 years old. Um, we had shootouts on the block, drug deals and on the block. And my mom, she got tired of that life. She didn't want us to live that life anymore. So she was going to move us to the projects. And I mean, even though she didn't know, I don't know why she didn't, but she was in so much rush just to get out of there. The projects was a lot worse than where we were living at. you know. But she didn't want us to live in that environment no more. She's about to go to projects, and my grandmother, her mom, decided to buy a house about 5 blocks away. Still in Inglewood, but different environment a little bit. So we moved with my mom, me, my mom, my sister. We moved with my grandmother on Loomis. It was totally different, as far as traffic going in and out. We didn't see that much, but it was just family and it was more family oriented. But we still managed to, keep it going. I got to know my mom's side of the family. It was a lot of love. They were big church goers, which was totally different from my dad's. I had to get used to the school that I was going to. I was a newbie there, so I was pretty picked on. I was a bully. I was bullied, from kindergarten all the way up to seventh. seventh grade, back and forth. It was always something. But uh but even though I didn't have any friends at school, I didn't feel like I had any friends. My family was my friends, and they always show me that, you know. Um we had how can I say this? I'm trying to say the best way to say this is that despite everything that was going on, you know, we still had each other. And mom and grandma definitely didn't have a problem showing that we had each other. Grandma held down the fort. My mom helped what she could, single mother, taking care of four children. My dad, 25 blocks away, it's this thing that they say, drug dealers say, don't get high on your own supply. Uh, my dad, he ended up getting high on his own supply, uh, came hooked on drugs, in and out of jail. And it didn't really bother me, but I didn't hate him. Didn't think any different of him. I just know that he wasn't there. It was always mom. So getting used to the neighborhood, still going to grandmother's house every now and then, and still when you go over there, it's still the same thing. Drug dealing, violence, gangs, a shootout, a stabbing, fights. It was always something, you know. But I was able to escape that and come back home, you know. But I would say I was bullied all the way up until seventh grade, and so everybody found out that I can dance. So in Chicago, we had a dance called house, and a lot of people still like house music and everything, And I got all my dancing. I used to watch videos and all that and stuff like that. MC Hammer, set break dancing in New York and all that. So people found I can dance. I went home, was coming home down from my school was right in the corner. So I was walking back to my house. I had on my I I had to dress at least like I, boost up my confidence a little bit. But I had my high top fade, my yellow shirt with the black polka dot, baggy pants, black, uh, patent leather shoes with the silver on the tip toe. So I get up to my house and I see these guys and I'm like, they're about to fight me. I don't even know what this is about. They're about to fight me. But I get up there and one of them was like, so I heard you can dance. And this guy who said he's my brother still to this day. And he said, so I heard you can dance. So I was like, okay, I'm relieved that at least it's about dancing, not fighting. So I said, yeah, I could do something. So he said, you can't be my brother. So me and his brother started dancing against each other and everything. And after that, we became friends. We had a dance group. They had a dance group called Delta Phi Kappa. Chicago house dance, like I said, was really huge. Used to go dancing all the time at this club called Mr. G's. Uh, so that's how I got my first set of friends and my first real boost of confidence. So we would dance around the neighborhood, do local talent shows, uh, sock hops, uh, what they call them, the high school dance thing, the pep rallies. So we do pep rallies and stuff like that. And we did Bernie Mac's. He had a show out there in Chicago. We did one of his shows. Then we would break up every now and then. Then we got with a buddy of mine. His mom started a group called Future Three. So everybody was like doing a dance, and we ended up becoming part of Future Three. Changed our name, and we started doing not just local dancing, but we did like concerts for people like Ghetto Boys, Red Man, Method Man, DJ Quick. We Then we had our big break. We started. We heard that it was a contest by the Apollo Theater. That was coming to Chicago and they was looking for new acts and things. So we said, okay, let's go do this. And we found out the day before we actually went down there to audition. So we practiced the day before. So we performed, sent the place up. We won, and got that trip to Chicago, made to New York, um, performed at the Apollo actually twice. Um, uh, so we had a good dancing career, and probably one of our last ones was we did in Davenport, Iowa, with Usher. We opened up for Usher, and yeah, so we were pretty excited about that. But we danced to keep ourselves out of trouble. You know, Chicago was pretty big on gangs, violence, and stuff. So if you danced, you wasn't really bothered. You was cool, you know, with everybody and stuff like that. And even some of the hardcore thugs wanted to dance too, and they like getting girls too. But you know, these teenagers. Um, but one day at our show, our guy he asked one of our guys said we were praying. He said his name ain't Jesus. We was like, okay, what are you talking about? you know, he said, man, his name ain't Jesus. I'm telling you. He was like, okay, whatever, man. Come on, let's just do the show. Let's do this performance and stuff. So we brushed him off, and he told us about this place, the Knesset, Hebrew Israelite Knesset we've been to, and we started finding out what he was talking about. Found out that we are not uh, ninjas. I substituted the word, of course. Found that we are not that, and we are more than what we thought we were. And we started studying a lot. We got very zealous and would go to churches telling people, that's not his name. Do this. You got to do this. You got to do that. Getting kicked out of churches, older women beating us with Bibles out of the churches and everything. Mom thought I was in a cult. It was crazy, you know, but we we found purpose, so to speak. We already knew we can dance, but we found some kind of purpose on why we were in the condition we were in and how we can change it and who we really are. So while we was doing that, it was probably leading up to the disbandment of our group. Everybody started having families. I met someone. I had a daughter, and then in '97, and then '99, I had my son, and she came here to Ohio because she wanted to see her parents and see what it was like because they had just moved up here. I didn't want to move up here because my family and friends, everybody knew was in Chicago, you know. But then at that time, drug dealers started to become bigger on our block. They would start got so bold to where they would sell drugs in the middle of the block, you know, and we had children running around, you know, and man, my guys would confront them was like, dude, y'all got to take that somewhere else. Don't keep that down these kids, you know. Sometimes they would listen. But then it was one day I was on the side of my grandmother's house and I found a bag of crack cocaine on the floor, on the ground. And I was like, oh, y'all can have this. I'm up. Me and my family up. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with this. So we packed up, we had two-door Hyundai Accent, three kids, basically two boosted seats and one car seat, and and we moved up here. Moved up here, and up staying with her parents, who I might add didn't like me at the time. So it was very interesting. Uh, Stayed with her parents. I had to get situated, find a job, and all that. And it was getting rockier for our relationship, even though I had just moved here. Um, 2001, a couple of months later, of course, World Trade Center thing happened on television. And I think it was before or after, but Aaliyah, you know, her passing. And then, like I said, our thing, so it was a lot of chaos, you know, and I was uncomfortable and I was being pressured. It seemed like you do something, you got to take care of your family, you got to get a gig, you got to get on place. So we eventually got out of there. And this is when things started going further downhill for me. I was thinking that my life was going to change for the better moving here, but it went further downhill. And granted, growing up on the South Side and all those things that I experienced, the violence, drugs, all that stuff, and being in a house where all that stuff and decided not to do it, even though I saw it, because I saw what would happen if you did those things. The things that I was about to be presented with here, it was, I couldn't have saw it coming, you know. So we got our own place basically across the street from where her mom lived. We were going through things, arguing and whatnot. As soon as we stopped debating, I went into my room and my dad called me, told me my grandmother had passed. So I'm feeling some kind of way, um, kind of pushed that to the side and handled that. Went up there to bury my grandmother, you know, came back, stuff still going on. The following year, I went up to Chicago again to visit, and I didn't drive, so I didn't wasn't able to see. I didn't choose who I can go see because I wasn't driving. And my cousin, as I was leaving, my cousin Vale was saying, "Hey, you know, why you come to see me, cuz?" And I was like, sorry, man, I wasn't driving. I promise the next person I come up here, when I come up here, the first person I'm going to see is you. I promise." He said, "All right, cuz." So we got back here, probably not even about 2 months after that. Me and my children's mom is arguing, debating, and our engagement was off. She threw the ring at me and everything. I went into my room, laid down again. I get another phone call, Vale dead. And I'm like, no, I'm like, what are you talking about? He said Chevelle was dead. And that was my cousin who I said I was going to come back to see. So I was feeling some kind of way about that. Still haven't grieved my grandmother. Um, Relationship just crashed, you know, in a place where I'm uncomfortable, missing family. So I'm just going through a lot. Come back to Chicago, bury my cousin, uh, get back here, stuff, you know, our relationship didn't get better, you know, did whatever I could, you know, kids were getting bigger, rent and everything I get paid. So I ended up going back to Coca-Cola because I used to work for Coke in Chicago. Went back to Coca-Cola, started working for them. And then about, I had to do a checkup, 2004. I had to do a checkup at the for the job. Came find out that I had lupus. Uh, I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but okay, I just got another illness, you know, it's whatever. So I'm living with lupus. My emotions are still going like roller coaster, everything we're going through. Seem like it's not getting better. Still working to keep my mind off of things. Um, 2 years passed, still going through a lot of things. My it was my grandmother passed. My great grandmother passed. And then it was like a year after that, I got diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. And I still haven't dealt with none of the other stuff that I was dealing with, you know, because I got to be strong for my kids and my family and everything. But still go through that, still going through things with her. Then we had another death in the family. And it seemed like every other year there was a death in the family. If it wasn't natural, it was something from cancer um, or murder or something. And again, I just continue living. I didn't know what else to do but to continue living and working. You know, sometimes I would work myself so hard to where I would have like 103-degree fever, staying orange, but still working because I knew I needed to take care of my kids. Um, Still taking more deaths, more deaths. Found out 2012, had a blood clot in my lung. Didn't know where it came from. In and out of the hospital because my severe anxiety, I was having an anxiety attack every day, literally every day. You know, sometimes I'd be at work and I have to go to the hospital while I'm at work because I feel like I can't breathe and stuff like that. So kept going, still ticking, but sometimes felt like I wanted to break. but I started praying more. Um, I started remembering that I'm stronger than what I am. Continue to pray. Everything's going to be okay. I stayed optimistic. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Even though everything just kept coming at me left and right. Um, 2015, no, it was 2014. Found out that not just one blood clot turned to three blood clots in my lungs. So I got three blood clots in my lungs, lupus, severe anxiety, severe depression, still got never mourned from all the deaths that's been happening every year. Got this thing going on with the mother of my children, going back and forth to court. Uh, and it was a lot. So somebody told me about a book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Um, so I decided to check it out. They said it was really good. So I started reading it, and that's how I found out about Kriya Yoga and meditating. So I was like, okay, I'm willing to try something else, anything. So I started meditating. It was hard at first. You'd be lucky if I can sit for like 5 minutes without my mind going crazy. Um, but it gradually, as I kept going, it's just like anything. If you, just like your body, you want to get it strong, you got to keep working out. So I had to keep practicing at it. 5 minutes turned to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to half an hour, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm meditating, set up a place in my basement, where I can meditate every day. It was helping. It kept me from snapping, even though I wanted to snap so many things, and it kept me from snapping. But I stayed, I want to say, humbled and prayed up and full of faith that it was going to change. Um, 2015 come, my sister called me and told me that my uncle was dead, and I'm like, what? Yeah. So, excuse me. So I'm shocked. Go up there, funeral and everything. I told my family, and I was telling them I talked at the funeral, but I told them that I wasn't going to talk if that casket was open. But I proceeded to let everybody know to not feel bad and to know that our uncle is still alive, just not in this body. He's still existing. He sees everything. He's good, you know, and giving everybody words of encouragement. That happened. 2016 rolled around, uh, having chest pains, went to the doctor, found out that I had angina now. Yeah, so it was like it was just coming left and right. So I'm like angina is weakening of the heart muscles because I was going through so much stress and depression that it basically weakened my heart. I had just started dating somebody in December 2015. We got serious in January 2016. I wasn't talking about getting into a relationship because I was pretty much done because all I was worried about was just my family. Tired of I didn't want any more drama in my life. We started dating, started getting, serious and everything. Then one day I was coming back from work and was working the evening shift. And I mean, the day shift, I got off in the evening. It was like August 17th, even August 17th, 2016. Coming in from work, having a little pain in my chest. But I'd make it so bad, I don't remember. It just felt funny. It wasn't hurting or anything to work because I was so used to pain that I kind of brushed it off. So came in the house that evening, called my buddy, called my mom, what I usually do right before turning into bed. I call them, I'm in the kitchen talking to them, and next thing you know, I'm waking up in the hospital a week later. You know, didn't know what happened, hooked up the tubes and everything. I still have the trach hole in my neck. Didn't know what happened. doctors, my family was standing beside me. I didn't know because they usually don't, they never came up here to see me. So family standing beside me and there's like a glow around them, like an aura. And I looked at the doctors again and they was like, you know why you're here? I couldn't speak. They said, Jay, you had a heart attack. And I didn't think anything of it because I'm like, just sitting there with stuff in my mouth and everything. They said, you died. They said, you left us. They said, you died for, you were gone for a whole day, you know. And I didn't think anything of it because I'm just sitting in the bed, not knowing what's going on. um, Nevertheless, I regained consciousness again. When I went out, regained consciousness again. I saw my brother, my one of my brother, I called my best friend that I developed a friendship with since we were like fifth grade. Him and his wife and their kids standing by my bed, and my kids standing by my bed. You know, my sister-in-law holding my hand, saying, you know, can you hear me? If you know where you at, squeeze my hand. And squeeze her hand. And she like, he squeezed my hand. Then I went out again. The irony part about all that was that I didn't even know that I had died, because I thought I was just sleeping at one point in time, because what I was experiencing was, um, I think one of the best words is like bliss. I was most peaceful I've ever been in my life. I was, I remember I was walking down a tunnel, and in this tunnel, it was like amber in color. Uh, it wasn't hell, people. When it was amber in color, and it was like the tunnel was like a tube, and it was people all surrounding the tube, around and underneath, and it was like they were reaching up, but it was not malicious. I'm walking through the tunnel. I get to the end of the tunnel, and I found myself like floating or going down a highway. And it was like the local highway where I was, here in Ohio. I went past a couple of landmarks that I remember here, and it was gloomy outside. It was dark. Nobody was out. And then all of a sudden, it was just like immediately I was like shot up. I was immediately right in space, And while I'm up there again, I just know I existed. I didn't have any limbs, no body, no physical form, but I just knew I existed. I knew I was, you know. To the footstool ahead of me, it was the earth, big ground globe, of course, but it was like energy protruding from it. It was like going in like a tree, something like what you see back here, but it was going, energy was going in and out, circulating in and out, like going up almost like a tree. And to my left, and it was dark out there. So the earth, you can see it and whatnot. But to my left, I saw almost look like a spiral of stars, almost like what they call like it was like a wormhole type thing, but it was like a spiral of stars. And several years later, I come to find out that I was looking online, looking at some stuff, and I saw that same image, and it said it was the Andromeda galaxy. So I was like, okay, so I saw the Andromeda galaxy. Cool. you know. So I saw this to my left, and then I saw the earth down, like the footstool in front of me, like, but towards the footstool. I saw this again, and I heard my name called. I didn't know where it came from, but I know to look to my right. Didn't see anything. It was dark. Then I looked back at those star clusters again, and I heard my name called again, and I looked back again, but I didn't hear anything, see anything. And then after that, it was just dark. Don't remember anything else. Um, but they proceeded to tell me that um, I had also suffered 26 strokes as well. You know, but when I when I died, it was it was very hard for the family, of course. Because when I was in the hospital, they said that I drove myself to the hospital. I don't remember doing it. Parked my car, walked through the emergency room doors, and as soon as I got through the doors, I immediately collapsed. It's almost as if it was like a malachim or angel or spirit literally jumped in my body and was driving for me and got there. And as soon as I got through the door and left, was like, okay, y'all take care of him now. That's what it was like. But I went into cardiac arrest, cold blue. They came out, got me back, and I went into cold blue again. They got me back again. Then they put a stent in my heart to stabilize me and life flighted me to Riverside Hospital, which was a trauma hospital here. While I was there, they say that I opened my eyes and they saw that I was fighting, so they wanted to fight with me. So they kept working on me. So while they was working on me, apparently they called my parents, my mom in Chicago, and said, "Someone need to get up here. He's not doing good. We don't, know what it's going to be." So of course they were shocked, and they said we were working on for 45 minutes. My mom was like, 45 minutes and y'all just calling me about my baby. So so they got ready. They told them everything. They got ready to make their way back up here. They still working on me. And after I went out like two more times, then they tried to get me back and then they lost me. No heartbeat. It was deceased. So then shortly after they called my mom and said, it's sorry, didn't want to inform you, it's too late, but we lost him. He's gone. So my mom and my sister and him, they reacted the way they would. My sister fell to her knees, listening and stuff like that, heard the news. She posted on social media, I think I sent you that, on social media, telling everybody, how she felt, how her heart felt, and, that I was, gone and stuff. And RIP posts was coming in left and right and stuff like that. My mom still didn't, she heard it, but she wasn't like, it didn't sink in. So they made their way up here. And Chicago was like 5, 6 hours away. So when they got up here, I think it was like early morning of the 18th or something like that. And my mom got off the elevator. She's like, okay, where's my baby? And my kid's mom, she said, he's gone. He's been gone all day. He's he's not here. And so my mom started crying, fell to, dropped to her knees, and they came in the room to see me. My body had swell. Still have cracks, skin cracks all over my body. Still got the burn marks on my chest when they, had to give me the paddles and everything. So when they walked in, and hooked up the tubes and everything. My children were there because my children were here, and my mom. They saw me everything. My stepfather at the time, he was. He said my lungs were like white because it stopped working. All my organs had stopped because I was dead, and all they had to do was just give the okay so they can officially call it and sign the papers and stuff. My daughter had just turned 18. It was up to her to make that decision, which is hard for, as you would expect for a young person. She said, no, he's still in there. And they said, we're sorry, he's been gone the entire day. He's not, he's gone. He's gone. And she said, no, he's still in there. You got to wait. He's still in there. So they decided, okay, cool, we're going to keep him on one more day, even though he's gone. So they went to my house that evening, started making memorial plans. My job was already notified. Dad passed away because my coworkers, everybody was up there. The doctor said that it was so many people up there. It was kind of surprised to see so many people up there for one person, you know. But they went to my house, started clearing out my house, started making memorial plans and everything. The next morning, they got a call from doctors. The doctors, telling them that every backup faint pulse. So everybody's shocked, like a faint pulse. Seriously, they was ecstatic but happy and sad at the same time. Emotions going all over the place. So They rushed back up to the hospital. The doctors was like, we found a faint pulse. We don't know what happened. We can't explain it. But even though we found a faint pulse, we don't want you to have your hopes up because, he only has about a 20 something chance of survival. And if you do, we don't know what his quality of life is going to be. Because remember, my organs, everything got shut down, brain, all that. So they said, keep working on him. Fine, keep working on him. So they had me in a medically induced coma. So my organ put me on this machine called an ECMO to circulate blood through your body and through your heart to give your heart some rest. So since my heart had got that faint pulse, it needed that help. So they put me in a medically induced coma. And while I was in that medically induced coma, that's when I had the 26 strokes. So the doctors, they were all still shocked. They couldn't explain it. They didn't know what to say, how to feel. It was just going through the ropes. And my girlfriend at the time, she still stayed up there. And it was kind of shocking because she works at that same hospital. And she had just got off work that morning. As soon as she walked in the house, my son called her and said, Dad died. So she rushed back to the hospital and everything in shock. And the other ironic thing was I was a floor right underneath where she was working at. So they, got me back, got my organs back and everything. I was on dialysis and stuff, family up there. But afterwards, I still hooked up the tubes. I had no worries, no fear, no doubt, no concerns. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just relaxed. I was felt so good. It was the best. This may sound morbid. It was the best sleep I ever had in my life. Uh, but they nursed getting me back to health and everything. And like I said, my girlfriend at the time, she was still there. My sister-in-law, my kids' auntie, she stayed there every night. They had to make her go home as well. And I had so much love and support that it was crazy. So many people praying for me, churches, people that I didn't know, but it was humbling experience. But my girlfriend, she was holding my hand. I remember she was holding my hand, and I could talk, had the trachea and everything, and she was right there by me talking and everything. And I look over, and I just a tear, get teary eyed, a tear rolled down my eye, and I looked over looked up at her and I said, will you marry me? And she said yes, of course. And she just read my lips because I couldn't talk. So she read my lips and I said, will you marry me? So we got engaged in the hospital. So she's my wife to this day. But I was going through a lot but I felt good, you know. Um, they would turn on the television and I started seeing things on the television. But for some reason, that's when I started feeling some kind of way. I started feeling bad, looking at all, because it was around politics, it was around election time and all that stuff. So looking at all this election and all this hate and stuff like that, I was really starting to feel bad, because I was like now accessible to all this different energy that was out there in this world, you know. But for the most part, again, I just felt I was like a clean slate. I was a new person. Everything about me had changed, you know. When I finally left the hospital, I looked outside and it was like I was seeing everything for the first time. You know, I I didn't recognize the train, the bus, the clouds, the trees, cars. It was all foreign to me. It's like I had been away for so long, but I wasn't away that long to you won't think to forget that much stuff. But I was literally a clean slate. It was the best feeling that I ever had. The biggest thing though was the fact that I found out about love. I always knew about love. I always told people about love. But that energy I told you that was over my family, that was love. That's how I realized that love was an entity. Love is an actual being, just like the creator, and it can exist in all places at all times with anyone and everyone that it chooses to. And it was an amazing feeling, to know that and to be aware of that and to share that. And whenever someone asks me, my brother gave me what they call it, like a fundraiser for me. And I was only out of the hospital for like a couple months. They would ask me, they said, "So you have a message or anything?" I said, "Love." I said, "If there's nothing else, love." I said, "If you don't know it, learn to know it because it knows you, it's the thing that drives us, that keeps us going, the reason we're still here, the reason the planets revolve around the sun. Everything in existence exists because of love. It is a part of the Most High just as much as the Rock or the Holy Spirit and other entities that consist of Him. Love is a living being. So I learned a lot. I do, but I'm still going. I'm still learning as I go.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. What an incredible experience.
To say the least.
But when you say that love is an entity, did you feel like when you woke up in the hospital and you saw this glow around your family, did you think that being was around your family?
I knew it was love because it's like that feeling. I knew that's what it was because of what I felt on that other side. So it was almost like, that glow was like, "Hey, remember me?" you know, that's what it was like. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the other side. I remember hearing that you said you were like walking up and down the street, but it was like your consciousness was like
Yeah.
going up and down, one of the streets. How did it feel? How did it tell us how it was? Because you
Uh,
were 24 hours, but I'm sure it didn't fit. The time is not the same.
I was gonna say that it didn't feel like it, but what's funny is that when I came back, it felt like this was the dream, but that was the reality. It felt natural there. So when I got back here, it's almost like this was a dream, but it sometimes felt like it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I know I didn't walk because I didn't have a body. I know I was just it's almost like floating or just going down the highway, you know. Um, it's the same feeling as your because it's your consciousness or your spirit or who you really are. It's the same feeling. It's because it just felt natural. Let's say like you're just as natural as you're sitting here now, or you go to the walk out the door. It's just that same natural feeling. Only difference is you're not in that body. It's like no difference. Like I said, I knew that I existed. I knew that I just I knew I was. How you say I am.
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know
Yes.
that's I am. I was.
Um, Tell us on another interview, I heard you talk about that you actually came into I think your nephew had a dream about you and you sent the message to him to tell your family to stop rubbing you in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Sorry, yeah. Well, when it happened and everything, when I was gone, I was by this time at this time I was deceased. My parents and I'm just sitting by my bed. And my mom, or I think my little brother called my nephew, his son, his stepson, and everything. And he talking to him and he said, "I see Uncle Jay." Uncle Jay, and he has this, he's in his dark room and he's contemplating if he's going to come back or not. And he's saying, what about his kids? And I gave him all goosebumps and everything. And he said, and Uncle Jay said, stop rubbing on him. And they all just got shocked because at the time my mom was rubbing on my arm. She kept rubbing on my arm while I was gone and stuff. So they were freaked out. Every time I talk to my mom, she brings that up. She brings that up. His name is Xavier, my nephew. Yeah, so that was they bring that up. She bring that up every time I talk to her. That was kind of creepy to them. And the thing is, I don't even remember. I don't remember talking to anybody. I don't even remember that, but he said that and they were kind of shocked. And what cemented it was when he said stop rubbing on him.
So
That's how
it
they was
wasn't a
cemented it.
dream.
It was,
It wasn't a dream.
huh?
He saw you some kind of way. It wasn't even
Yeah,
his dream.
yeah. He saw me, and it was weird, because I
Wow.
don't remember it, but he saw it. So yeah,
That is
yeah.
really I love it. And I know she got chills because that's just like a mama to be rubbing your arm, rubbing
Oh
something.
yeah, oh yeah. I got the picture of her too. When she has on a red cap and I'm hooked up to tubes and everything, and she's got a hand on my arm and everything, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I think she was more excited than anything, and I'm telling she praised she praised the Most High. She always praised the Most High, but it wasn't enough in many words in the dictionary how much she praised the Most High for everything and me being here. It was an experience, and the most morbid experience was that the um the condolences letter that was sent by Coca-Cola, because I worked for Coca-Cola, saying that we were notified of the death of your loved one, and they want to start a process and everything. Of course, I still have that letter, and to look at it is worried to know that they talking about you, not somebody else. You know, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was an experience. It was, and the closeness I felt with the Most High that time. They asked me. They said, "Did he tell you anything? Did you talk to him? Did he say anything?" And I had to tell them all. It's like one thing you don't need to understand about the spiritual world is that everything that you are familiar with on the physical world bears no witness on the spiritual world. You know, language when he talks and whatnot, it's not like language that you hear and stuff like that you can understand. It comes through in a spiritual way, in a spiritual language where you can understand it when you're there. So it's like I couldn't tell you what he said because I don't know how to put it into words. I couldn't explain that. So this time, all that is different from there. I thought that I was maybe asleep for like maybe short period of time. I hear and everything, but it was no sense of time there. Totally different, and that played a role into my life afterwards because I had insomnia for let me see, I had insomnia up until about 2 years ago, where I
Wow.
couldn't sleep because I didn't. It's like I didn't have need to sleep. I just stayed up. I didn't have need to sleep. So the insomnia was real. But then when I started to get sleepy and started to feel like I was going to sleep, I got afraid a little bit because last time I thought I was asleep, but I was dead. So I was afraid to go to sleep because I didn't know if I was gonna be dead or not, if I was gonna wake up or not. And that went on for a couple of years, and every now and then that still happens. Yeah, it still happens sometimes. You get that certain feeling, and you're like, okay, wake up because you don't want to get too comfortable or that too fluid. And you wake up and realize, okay, I'm here. It still happens.
Wow, that's incredible. So tell us about your experience of love. I know you said that it was like it's almost like it was a big reset button. Like everything you had to relearn, you had to learn how to walk and talk. Um, And even your sense of, I think you were saying romantic love was different,
Yes.
right? What's
Mhm.
about that?
Well, I found out that man's representation, what they think love is, and what I experienced love to be, it was totally different because I was shown and experienced that love was about building up, about creating life, about creating in general. It's about um, promoting life. you know. So to know this, that when people say, like my wife, she used to say that she asked me, she said, she asked me this before, she said, are you in love with me? And I had to tell her, I was like, baby, I love you, of course. I said, but the interpretation of what you think of love and saying somebody in love with you, it's different. So I can't use that. I can't say that somebody's in love with you. I love you. It's either you love somebody or you don't, you know, because I want to see you grow. I want to uplift you, and that's what love is about. And I found out that one of the biggest misconceptions of love is that it gets confused with some of the traits of human nature, some of the bad traits. Love gets confused between infatuation. It gets confused between possessiveness. It gets confused between fear of loss, of not wanting to be alone. Uh, it gets confused with all these things, and that's not love. You know, um, love is not what love. People get love confused with human emotions, and everybody and everything in existence experiences love in its true form. Infatuation, fear, doubt, um, all those things, that's not love. So if you're not building someone up, if you're not helping them create something good, if you're not helping them create life, or you want to see the best for them and all that, that's not that's not love if you don't have all those things.
So true. So true. I know that would give you clarity. Like engaging with source on the other side, you come back like you
Mm-hmm.
know what love is. That is so true. Sometimes it looks like infatuation, lust, control, fear.
Mm-hmm.
You said fear of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
That is so, so true. What
Yes, and
I want, Mhm.
it's a snare.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So, okay, so you actually were very spiritual before the NDE, right? When you were saying, one of your family members had died, and you told them he's still alive. He's not in that body, but he's still alive. I wanted to ask you, so how is the anxiety now? Since you've had the NDE, do you still struggle with anxiety? I know you have an incredible meditation practice that I would love for you to talk about. So tell us about that.
Well, ironically, I ain't gonna say ironic, but after the thing, I didn't have any asthma. I didn't have attacks. I didn't have any depression. I didn't have anxiety like that. That didn't happen. After immediately after that, I was good. However, it's the things of this world and how you are connected or not connected to them that creates these things. When I say there are spirits and entities around, floating around here, there are. There's a spirit for anxiety, there's a spirit for depression, there's a spirit for everything. It's not just chemical things with your brain and stuff like that. That's all driven by spirits. And my anxiety is low still. That's the good thing. My depression, however, that kind of crept back up because again, I got very I got very successful and very connected to feel things out here. When it comes down to these spirits, I know they're out here because, and it's like, okay, it's almost like if you've seen a scary movie and the ghost going around and it's doing this thing, but then when it notices that you see it, it's gonna start playing with you. It's the same thing. It's like I notice it, so now it it tries to creep in. The anxiety one, I think I've been holding that off at bay, doing better with that. But the depression, the things of life had made it difficult for me to handle the depression and the spirit of the depression. That makes sense. I think you asked about meditation too, right?
Yes.
Now, meditation helped me in like so many ways because it helped keep me calm. And what's funny is that you didn't, and it's still to this day, you don't hear that talked about in the Black community about meditation, at all. Hell, even when it comes down, excuse my French, when it comes down to mental health, for the most part, they don't talk about it. Like, heck, my mama said, we don't need to see no dang on shrink. You can talk to me. But meditation is one of those things that it doesn't have anything. Meditation is one of those things where it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It's just all you, and at the same time, it's but some don't believe it, but it connects you to that higher source, to the Most High, to the Creator through that meditation. Most of the time, if it's people of color are some of the most praying people, spiritual people out there.
Mm-hmm.
And all the time, we're always praying, asking, talking, praying. But they never, for the most time, they never take the time to just sit and listen. That's what meditation is. You praying, you ask them, now just sit and listen.
Yes.
Meditate, quiet your mind, quiet your heart. And in the beginning, it's going to be rough because you're just starting. You got everything going on in your mind with the job or family or something like that, but you got to keep at it. And trust me, it'll be so worth it to get that quiet time in here. you know, you can't control everybody else out there and what everybody else say, but you can control you. You can't control that body, and meditation helps you get that control. Some people look down on meditation, even church people, religious people, but they don't understand that there's various scriptures in the Bible about meditating. In Corinthians, it was one of them. Even in the Quran, the Quran talks about meditation. So and then when it comes down to the Messiah, who they call Jesus, when he was in the wilderness and he was on the mount, and the adversary said, if you be who you are, jump from this mountain and everything. What do people think that he was doing on that mountain? He was on that mountain meditating, you know
I'm
because
over
when
here
you
shouting.
meditate.
I'm over here shouting, Jay. Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. I am so I need this. This is giving me life. Yes. Yes. And one of the
Hallelujah.
scriptures that
Hallelujah.
hallelujah. One of the scriptures that has come to mind from the Bible, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know
Yes.
that I am God. Going within, like you said, connecting with source. I'm so glad
Mm-hmm.
you brought that up. So
Yep.
glad you
That
brought
be still don't mean don't walk. It doesn't mean just sit down in your car. When it be still means still your heart, still your mind, your soul. Just sit and listen. And I guarantee anyone, you're not too cool to meditate. Oftentimes people say, oftentimes there are, people, some people consider themselves Christian, or Christian supposed to mean Christ-like. Okay. And it's like, if you Christ-like, why not listen or pay attention to some of the things that he did if you really want to be Christ-like, you know, because he didn't come just to change water to wine or just do this and everything. He came to show man in the flesh. He was like, okay, since y'all think it's so hard to do things in the flesh, because you always got an excuse for the most part, I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna get in the flesh and I'm going to show you how you can do it. And at the same time, I'm going to show you how you're going to have some issues with it, how you're going to feel a certain way, how you're going to be tempted. But I'm also going to show you how you can get over it. So he showed both sides of those. He showed temptation at times, but he showed that he can get over it. You know, he showed anger at times, but he showed how you can get over that too. So to be Christ-like, why not look at the things that he did and try to be that way? There's nothing wrong with meditation. I'm telling you, it kept me from tearing up some stuff. And I'm a very peaceful person. I can't say it enough. And and the book Autobiography of a Yogi is one of the books that you can read that can show you how to meditate. It's a it's a it's a challenge, of course, in the beginning, but you can do it. And I've been doing it since 2011, 2012, you know, and I love it. I'm telling you,
I'm
I'm
gonna
telling
get
you,
that
I've
book.
had
Thank you.
uh
I'm gonna get that book because every morning I wake up at like 4 a.m. and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna meditate. And it's a challenge. So thank you so much for that recommendation.
real fast about that meditation.
Mm.
People ask me, one of the things people ask me when I made my transition, they say what it was, ask me what it was like. And I always tell them that what it was like was what I experienced in my meditation. Because what I experienced in that meditation, that peace, that heck, there was sometimes where I meditated so much and so hard that I literally I wasn't here. And when I made that transition, it was some of that same feeling that I did when I was with my meditation. So that's the best way I can say you can express that and understand that. And if I say that that was the best rest and peace that I've ever had in my life, if you want to know what it feels like, meditate.
Wow, that
Definitely.
is,
Um,
I love that. So the feeling that you had on the other side, so you get that feeling when you meditate. That's beautiful.
yes.
That's
And
beautiful.
you don't have to die to do
Yeah.
it.
Yes, I love it.
the When I came to when I got out the hospital, I said I literally had to start over. I lost my job that I was at for nearly 20 years because I couldn't do it anymore. I lost my home because I couldn't take care of it anymore. So I had to start completely over. And one of the things that I wanted to do something that was going to help people understand or help people find peace with meditation that I did. If I can get them to feel that or know what it feels like in any way, I want to do that. So I decided to create a company called Daleth Aromatherapy and Meditation Sanctuary. Um, Daleth, the symbol for Daleth is a triangle, and it's the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it means door. So this door, this Daleth was the door for your meditation, the door for you creating a meditation in your physical sanctuary. So I wanted to create a place to where people can come and learn how to meditate, where they can be surrounded by everything, the aromatherapy, the scenery, the sound, the feeling, the whole ambiance. I wanted to create that place. Uh, Unfortunately, since I had to start over, I didn't have the capital to actually build it. I wanted to, but I didn't have the resources to do that. So I decided to create a website, um, am-sanctuary.com. And on this website, you can go there. You can find all the resources to help you learn how to meditate and to help you find things associated with aromatherapy, whether it be a device. There's a bunch of devices out there, or it be like actual uh, ashram or something, or a place like self-realization fellowship. They help you meditate. That's the place that I started meditating with. And it was started by the author of the book that I mentioned, Paramahansa Yogananda. He's the author of Autobiography of a Yogi. So it has places like Self-Realization Fellowship, Isha, the Isha Institute. It's called Muji. He's a Jamaican guru, and it has all these places on there that you can contact. You have YouTube videos on there, links where you can go to places on YouTube to show you how to meditate, even if it's just listening to certain music or you listen to a certain sound. I have all these things on my website. So I figured that if I can't provide you with a physical sanctuary outside, I at least want to help you create a sanctuary at home.
I love that.
So
I love that. I love that. So everybody, I'm gonna have Jay's website, the address in the bottom of the screen so that you can go and check that out. I know I will be doing that. Yes, that is
thank you.
incredible. I have a question, Jane.
Yeah.
It has been challenging for me to find Black and brown people who have had near-death experiences and talk about it. Now, you talk about your childhood in Chicago. I had a childhood in Tennessee, and it sounds pretty, but it wasn't. A lot of the same kind of environment, and so I know that we have people, brothers and sisters in our community who have passed away and come back. Why do you think that it's so challenging to find people of color to talk about spiritual experiences? Why is that?
In my opinion, I believe it's because one is almost like stigma, where it's not cool, especially people of certain generation, but not knowing that it's a reason why we are so spiritual, but we don't show it because heck, half the time the media don't give us the outlet to show it.
Yeah.
They say we want you to talk about this or show that. We don't want to hear about your spirituality because we already got your community leaders to do that for us, the church and whatnot. And they feel that okay, we give you a little bit, you're good. We don't need to hear the rest of it. But we can share those things. We have that in us. And we're so connected. It's ridiculous because how many people or group of people do you know that can go through so much stress, anxiety, torture, and have the resilience to still be here? That's something strong and spiritual in us for us to be here. There's something strong working through us. Now, if you had someone who had the avenue or had the outlet to speak on it, then it would probably be cool. But they don't get paid for that. So they're not speaking about it. So that's why you won't hear about it. It doesn't have any, it's like whatever plan they had to do to us sometime, it was very efficient. It was very efficient.
So there you have it. Jay and I are inviting all of our brothers and sisters, Black and brown, white, all of our brothers and sisters to share your experiences. We could use the wisdom that you've acquired through these spiritual near-death or out-of-body experiences. This is a safe place, right, Jay?
It is. It is. You do not have to be worried about getting ridiculed, talked about,
Exactly.
because everything that we say and everything we do, and we listen out of love, because we
Absolutely.
want the best for you and we want us to grow together. That's what love is about,
Yes.
so we
Love
can
it.
do this together. There's nothing to be afraid of, no fear, and don't think that because you grew up in a certain place, a certain environment, around certain things, that you have to follow that path. You don't. Those are all learning tools. You can learn from it. You can see and see what not to do. You don't have to experience it and do it and then experience the bad part. Unfortunately, sometimes you see other people do it and you can experience it through them. You like, okay, I don't want to do that. And you can keep it moving. That gives you strength. Everything that you get through, everything that you experience, whether it be bad or good, are lessons to give you the strength to be able to get through the next thing that comes to your life. And there's always going to be something that comes. The only difference is how you handle it when it do come. And you can't get that strength and get strong unless you go through something. You
Yeah.
have to go through it, not run into it and fall and stay down. You have to go through it. You may go through it with a broken arm, but you come back up, you get through it. You can do it. I don't have everything, but I got life and I got love.
I know that's right. I
And
love it. I love it. I
wanted to
love it.
share.
Yes, I
Sorry
wanted to
about
tell you, share us
my
your
book.
book. Let's talk about your book.
Yeah, I, okay, princess. I wrote this book. I was only out of the hospital not even a year after 26 strokes. And my neurologist was shocked. She was like, I was surprised that you was able to write that and remember anything after them strokes that you just had. And she brought up the imaging. She was like, okay, you had a stroke here, here. Flip the page, here. Flip the screen. I was like, okay, I get it. But I wrote this book to share my experience, what I've been through, and how I got through it, and the resilience, what faith, perseverance, hope, and love, all those things can do, and how far it can get you. And the book is called The Second Time Around, a memoir about a life, a death, and a second chance. You can visit it. You can get it on Amazon.com, and it's on BarnesandNoble.com as well. Um, about a life, everything that I've been through, a death, not just a physical death, but I had a spiritual death going on as well. And my second chance to be able to share this with everybody and make a difference in this world, a bigger difference. That's my goal.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I ordered my copy. Amazon is a little slow, but it's on its way. So
All
yes,
praises to
yes,
the Most High.
everyone get that book. Get that book. Um, I know that people are going to want to contact you. So what are your thoughts about if you are open to being contacted, and if so, what are the ways that you would like for people to contact you?
Not by phone number, because I do sometimes need my rest. But I am open for contact and conversation with, people, my brothers, my sisters. And when I say brothers and sisters, it doesn't have anything to do with your race or your nationality. You can contact me you can email me. It's at Yahoo. It's Mr. _Martin 216 at yahoo.com. I'm also on Facebook at Nasi Uzael. It's Nasi Uzael. Nasi means prince in Hebrew. Uzael means one who is like it means the strength of God in Hebrew. You can contact me on Facebook and email. I would give my Instagram page, but that's pictures and stuff. I don't know. I'm not too good at Instagram these days.
So Uziel is so Nasi Nasi Uziel, Uziel.
Uzziel.
Uzziel. So there you have it, everyone who wants to contact Jay, his email address and his Facebook. And I will, again, I'll have those in the bottom and I'll also put it in the description box.
So you can like my business Facebook page, that left aromatherapy and meditation. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Just like it.
spell your website. Spell your website for us.
It's www.daleth, DALETH -AM sanctuary.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love it. I love it. So, before we close out, I wanted to ask you, I know that you are an empath. Did you find that you had any other like abilities or that came to you after the NDE?
Yeah, it was at one point in time it was disturbing and scary to me because I never experienced it before. But I I mentioned how I would feel stuff on watching TV or something like that, and I just get this cringy feeling. But shortly after that, I would have like get this heavy feeling, this sad, heavy, depressing feeling, and didn't know what it was about. And it will last sometimes for like a couple of days. And then after it passes, unfortunately, an event would happen. The first time it happened was it was a derailing in Washington some years back, uh, where some people lost their lives, unfortunately. And then another time it happened was with the Las Vegas shooting. I had like a week before that, I was having that heavy feeling. And then another one was it was, and I posted it on my Facebook page when I right about 2 days before it happened. I said I had the heavy feeling. It was made me want to cry, and I was saying, I said something is about to happen. I said something about the happen is going to affect the whole world. It's going to change lives, and it's the whole world is going to see and be involved in it. 2 days later, that's when the George Floyd incident happened. And it's on my Facebook page. The date that I put it up there, if you correspond, you look at the date, and then you're like, wow, 2 days. That's when it happened, And I didn't want that feeling to be that way because it's like I don't want to feel the pain of other people with everything. But I told the Most High, I prayed, I said, yeah, please. I said, I'm grateful for the gift. I am. I said, but right now it's too much. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to handle it, and it hurts. Please take it away from me. I don't. It's too much. Stop having those feelings. And probably several months back, early this year, I said, okay, I'm ready. I think I'm okay. I think I'm ready to do it. I went into my closet, and I say the closet because the closet is really, really dark, no light coming through at all. And I prayed first. I always ask for wisdom, first and foremost, if nothing else, always wisdom, clarity, insight, and guidance. And right after I prayed, I sat and I meditated. And when I meditated, it was like a vision of these of soldiers. They had on green and they had like red band around their hat. And I said they're going to war. I said it's like Russia. I said, but it seemed like they're going to war against themselves because that's all I see. But they're going to war, Russia. And I didn't understand it. And I came out and I told my wife, I told her my vision. She said, oh, okay. But then months later, the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Felt sad about that. And then I had one. I also put this on Facebook. This was like a couple of months ago. If somebody scrolled down my Facebook page or my actual page and you see it, I put up. I had this feeling again because I was meditating in my room and it came up. These words. It said, soccer, football, football, because they call soccer football overseas. I said soccer, football. I said Al Shahid, Brown Man Cafe. So I don't know what they mean. So I didn't understand what it meant, but a week, not even a week, a couple days later, CNN come on and there was about 100 and some deaths in Seoul, Korea from a soccer game. And I told my brother, and he was like, wow, wow, just wow, and I'm like, okay, what do Al Shahid means? Is that a person and stuff? So I started looking up the name because it's Arabic and stuff. So I looked through the Quran and looked at the name and everything. I'm like, is this a person and everything? Come to find out, Al Shahid in Arabic means to witness. So it was like the message was like, witness this and witness that. So, and it gave me goosebumps. I'm about getting as I think about it and everything. So it comes. I just don't know how to channel it or how to handle it just yet. But when I told the Most High, I'm ready, I am ready. I'm just trying to get a hold of things. And again, you can check my Facebook page. If you go down, you see my post, whatnot. You will see the one about the soccer. And if you go down further, you'll see a couple of them about when an event was going to happen. I said was going to happen. So yeah, that's I came back to it.
Incredible. And I get you, and you know what, that you're still developing that and figuring out
Yes,
what to do with that. Wow, that's incredible. Um, do
mm,
you have any lasting words you want to share with the viewers? And I'm gonna read my closing remarks and we're gonna close this out. Thank you
sure,
so much for your time.
sure. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so appreciative and humbled by it. Yeah, forgive me if I was, sometimes I get a little wavy headed sometimes. My I haven't been feeling well today, but it's catching up with me. So I did, the best I could. Let the Ruach or the Holy Spirit work with me. But I just say to everybody is that, and it's not to break anybody up from anything. Is to, as much as you try to get to know the Most High, the Ruach Hakodesh, the Holy Spirit, and things like that. Now that you know that love is an entity and part of it, try to understand and get to know love. Whatever relationship you're in, whether it be an emotional or physical, romantic relationship you're in or whatnot, remember what I said about what love is and look at that relationship and see if it's gauged off of that. If it's about uplifting and creating something beautiful with the person you're with, rather it be, like I said, romantic or not. And if it's not about that, then you ask yourself, do I just want to be alone? Am I just afraid? Or I just want to have something that I can call my own? That's not love. If anything, that's selfishness and it's not selflessness. But if you don't know love, get to know love. And one of the best ways that I can say to get to know love is by learning to meditate because you become one with yourself. You become one with knowing who you are. You become one with the creator of all things, celestial and extraterrestrial, everywhere of all things. And that feeling that you get when you do that, you have a better understanding about what love is. And when you have that better understanding about love is, it will be a lot easier for you to love yourself. Because you can't love yourself. You can't say you love someone else if you don't love yourself. And it'd be a lot easier to know what love is when you love yourself. So I'll leave you all on that.
That is
It's,
beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And so
thank you for having me.
true. It's all about self-love. So let me read you your closing remarks. Jay, it's really been a pleasure. Um, I'm going to read a statement from a wonderful site called the Jeshua Channelings. It's by a woman by the name of Pamela Cribb, and she channels Jesus. And I'm going to just read a statement where he is addressing the light workers of the world. And it says, as a light worker, you are a pioneer who wants to break the barriers of old and stifling thought patterns and release the energy stuck within. You are almost always the first one in your environment to do so. You do not meet your soulmates until later, and it is the struggle by yourself that marks you as the true warrior that you are. You will have to find the way out by yourself, and once you have done so, you will attract like-minded spirits into your life, people who reflect your awakened state of being. And that is from the site, the Jeshua Channelings. And it's what, when I thought about you, it's what came up for me, Jay. Thank you so much for sharing your light with the world and for standing in the truth, even if it sets you apart from others. Thank you so much for standing in that truth. And we benefit from your vibration, your wisdom. And I just thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure having you on the show. And I just wish you the best of luck.
Likewise, I'm so grateful and humbled and thankful for you too, for you have had me, and thankful for the Most High for using you to contact me. That His will be done.
Amen. And we'll end on that. Amen. And we love you all. Yes. Love you. And
Hallelujah. Yes.
have a great day.